Hey guys, and welcome back to another Jay the One-Eyed Gamer. It has been forever since I've done one of these videos. I think the last time I did a video like this was on the Dynasty Warriors 9 DLC, and I think that's going on almost 2 months now. And there hasn't really been that much to report on in games that I'm finding interesting or want to talk about. But that all changed this past week. Most current favorite franchises is getting a new entry, and it's an action game, and that is the Utwarerumono franchise. And for you guys that don't know, they're just essentially light visual novel games slash RPGs or tactical RPGs. And only 2 of the games have made it over to the West. The first game, which is called Utawarerumono, and I'm not even gonna attempt the Japanese name. I just know I think it's called The One Who Sings, or The Ones Who Sing, I believe is what it's loosely translates to. I apologize if that's not the actual title itself. And then we got the last 2 games in the trilogy, because this is all just one big trilogy, and those would be Mask of Deception, which is the middle title, and then Mask of Truth, which ends out the trilogy. And if you guys want to check out, I have some Mask of Truth videos. They might be up in the eye in the corner if you feel like checking that out. Essentially, I loved the characters because how I found the franchise was I watched the first anime of the first game and I found it very interesting. I enjoyed it a lot. It came out in the early thousands, I believe. I enjoyed it. I thought these characters would do great in like a warrior setting because there's a lot of big battles that take place and a lot of like one officer taking on like 100 guys, and it reminded me of like a Dynasty Warriors anime. But essentially, they're bringing out an action game this time around, and we don't have a lot of information on the game other than the fact that it is going to be essentially an action game. It's not going to be in the vein of the light visual novels slash strategy RPGs. It's actually going to be a full-on action game. The thing is, they haven't talked about what type of action game it's going to be. We don't know if it's going to be in the vein of like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, or if it's going to be a musou game. Towards heavily towards the musou game, because from the article I pulled up on Gamitsu, they talk about how they want to have as many playable characters as possible, so that leads me to believe it's going to be like a musou style game, if not have the same amount of characters on screen. Let's look at the screenshot up now that hopefully you guys can see, and we're going to talk about the characters from left to right. Far left, we're going to start off with Kon. She is the main heroine of the last 2 games. She's actually a very powerful melee unit in the game. She's also not your healer, that technically goes to Nekone, but I'll talk a little bit about her. But going into Kon's story, she's actually has a big tie to the kingdom of Tuskuru, which you find out in the second game she is actually the princess of. Spoilers, but I can't go into any more because that would spoil more of her character, but I highly suggest you guys check it out or look her up. It's a very interesting story. But she essentially has a big tie to the next character who's in the middle, Haku, who is the main protagonist of the second and final game. And he's actually interesting because he's technically the last of the human race. You find out in the game, usually I think in like the second or at the end of the first game, or at least in the midpoint of the second game, you find out that humanity as we know it technically doesn't exist anymore. Instead, you have these hybrid humans that developed animal aspects like cat ears, tails, dog ears, eagle ears, all those kinds of things. And you didn't really find that out until like I think the second game, how it came about. He's technically the last pure-blooded human on this world right now. I liked him a lot better than the main character of the first game. That's just my... And he fights using a fan, whereas Kon uses her bare fist and I think some kunai. He's more of a strategist, so he's not actually frontline. I would picture him more along the lines of like, I think the best example would be like Sima Jiao mixed with maybe Zhuge Liang. He's got that level of intellect. He just is super lazy, which is why I kind of enjoy his character. And then the last part on the right, we have Nekone, who plays a big role in the final game, and she's connected to a very strong character in the second game, and she's essentially like Kon's little sister, and she's primarily your main magic user until you get the other 2 in Haku's party. But she's gonna be like your main healer in the game. She doesn't do a lot of damage, but she's definitely one you want to take into every battle so you can have a healer. And finally, we are told there is one more playable character, but unfortunately he doesn't make an appearance here, and that is Ogi. And Ogi is essentially a scout unit. He's the fastest unit in the game. He can't take a lot of hits, but he is definitely, I think, the fastest unit, and his strikes, like some of his combo chains, are just amazing to pull off because they're so long and ridiculous. But those are the 4 main characters we know of right now. From what, like I said earlier in the video, they talked about how they want to add more playable characters, so I'm led to believe that Haku's entire crew will be there. You're going to probably see them up on the screen right now. I'm not going to go into great detail about who they are because my plan is, as more information comes out and they're probably going to show off these characters, I want to do a breakdown and tell you a little bit about the characters. So right now you're probably just going to see them on screen, and I apologize if there's no names. I might put their names in the description if that's okay with you guys. Other than that, we don't have a lot of screenshots. We just have what we have in the Gamitsu article, which is Kon using a fire arrow, which she never used, I think, at least in the game I played, the second game, and Haku's using his signature fan. We don't see any gameplay of Nekone, and I think they're talking about a Mask of Deception, which leads me to believe, oh, they also talked about how it's going to have a story mode, but they haven't talked about what the story mode is. And if I had to make a suggestion, I would want it to be the story mode of all three games, like start off with Hakuro and his group in the first part, then move to Mask of Deception, which moves right into Mask of Truth, because I think that would be a great way for new players who didn't want to play the visual novels to like literally just get a first-hand impression of the story itself from the whole trilogy. I think that would be a great way, but like I said, we don't know what the story is going to be. I'm assuming there's also going to be a free mode, at least I hope so. They're also talking about how they're going to do new voice recordings, so I'm assuming it might be, like I said, the trilogy. They're just going to get the characters in and redo some voices. Apparently they've talked about how the game is going to be in 3D models, so it's not going to be the chibi forms you see in the game when you actually play the game, which I think is nice. I actually always wanted to see what these guys would look like out of chibi form. And they've also talked about how they want to try and match the feel of the combat from the show, which Mask of Deception was okay in combat, but really if you want to watch Utawarerumono, the first season, I highly recommend that. That does a really great job of battles, and it's also ridiculous to watch. Like, it's one of my favorites to watch. They've also talked about how they're going to make the music more upbeat for an action game as opposed to like somber for like the visual novel, because some of the music in Mask of Deception, because I haven't gotten around to playing Mask of Truth yet, is really beautiful, especially when it shows up at certain times to hit that like perfect feel moment. Like, I don't know who composed the Mask of Deception OTS, but it's great when it hits the spot. All in all, that's all we can glean from this right now. They also make a little mention about how they're going to add DLC to maybe the Mask of Truth and Mask of Deception from this game. I don't know how they're going to work that. They didn't really talk about it. They also talk about how if you have DLC from the last two games, which I think are Sasara and Takumi, which are the DLC characters, you can get that in the remake of the first Utawarerumono game that's coming out, I think, by the end of the year. So that's interesting. But like I said, not a lot of detail. I think it's a musou game. Either way, I do want to do some more videos about this up to date. Like, when we get character reveals, I will definitely want to talk about them because I do like this franchise, and I definitely want to get more notice in the West. I think it's worth it, and if this is a way to get people interested, at least to check out any of the games, or, you know, rent it or do something like that, I think that'd be great. It's always fun to talk to more fans about something and show people games that you like and hopefully get them a little interested. So that's all this is going to be. Oh, and if I have to, sorry, but if I have to pick one character that I definitely want in this game, regardless of how you're telling the story, I want my boy Banawe. And just so you guys know, here's a setup for who Banawe is in the form of like Dynasty Warriors. Banawe is technically like Zhao Yun of this universe. He's not the poster boy, but he is literally of Zhao Yun-esque quality. Like, he will ride out to battle on top of his horse and literally go toe-to-toe with one of the 8 pillar generals, which is considered a powerhouse by this other kingdom standard. Like, think demigod levels of power this kind of general will have. And he shows up and literally runs circles around her. He's not even going at full force. That's just how powerful this guy is. He's also extremely loyal, and look at him. Look at him. He looks so awesome and badass. But I'm gushing, I'm fanboying. He's just the one character. If I can make any recommendations to make it into this game, I hope Banawe somehow makes it into this game. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Hopefully this got you guys interested, because I'm really interested. I can't wait for any other information, because this game is due out sometime this year in Japan. Here's hoping that Atlas will pick up the game again like they did with Utawarerumono Mask of Deception and Mask of Truth, and hopefully bring this over next year sometime. I would really like it if they would bring over the remake of the first game sometime this year. That'd be nice, but we'll see what happens. And it's been a while since I did one of these videos, guys. I apologize if the information wasn't that spot on or super accurate. This is just a base overview. If they show off Nekone, Haku, Kon, and Ogi proper with screenshots and everything, I will definitely do a better breakdown video of the characters and give more backstory. But I just wanted this to be a teaser and, you know, whet your appetite. That's going to do it for me, guys. I want to thank you very much for watching the videos. I want to thank you for all the views and the subscriptions. It means a lot to me. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. If not, that's fine. If you are subscribed, please hit that bell button and click to let you know when the notifications are coming. Share these videos around. It really helps out the channel. If you want to hit me up up in the comment section, and I always try to get back to you guys as fast as I can. If you don't want to hit me up there, please check me out on my Twitter. I definitely try to hit you up over there. And yeah, guys, I'm really looking forward to this. I can't wait for any more information. I can't wait to share any more information with you guys, because like I said, this is one of my most current favorite franchises, and I would love for more people here in the West to be interested in it. So hopefully this game could capture some people's interest, because it might be a Warriors game. I'm gonna say like 90% it's gonna be a Warriors game of some kind. So hopefully that will get people interested. But I'm rambling. I apologize, guys. It's been a while since I've done this kind of video, but it's nice to be back. And as always, guys, I want you to have a great day, and remember, let's rock!